Alright, what is going on, guys? So I'm super excited to bring you guys this brand new video about the two new characters coming to the game. So this is going to be part one. We're talking about the new Black Widow Claire Voyant. So just a little disclaimer about these two new champions. They have nothing to do with the Black Widow that you know of, Natasha Romanoff, and they have nothing to do with the android Vision. These characters are from like very early on in the comics. They take place in like the 1940-ish era. Yeah, they're different characters, just older characters. Basically, there's a 80th anniversary of Marvel going on right now, so it's kind of that's why they're bringing back these old characters. So yeah, it's not like a reskin or reclass of Black Widow and Vision that we know. They're just different characters. So don't try to associate them too much with Black Widow and the Vision that we know. These guys are different. So yeah, let's jump into this new Black Widow because I think I'm most excited for her just because. Like, she's Mystic, which is awesome. We need more good Mystic champs in the game. She looks like Scarlet Witch, which is really cool. And she's got some crazy abilities going on. So, real quick, man, let's start with the bio. So, Clairvoyant was a spirit medium who was communicated with the dead through supernatural means. Killed by a client in a job gone wrong, Voyant is sent to hell where Satan gives her the ability to kill with a single touch. Sending her back to Earth to avenge her own death. After avenging her murder, Voyant can return to Satan, who no longer is content to wait for evil souls to die a natural death, and charges her with bringing more souls to him. So basically, she's got to go back to Earth to kill people who are bad guys, to send them to hell, to Satan. Pretty crazy origin story there. So yeah, let's talk about her abilities. And real quick, I want to read her signature ability first because this is crazy. This is kind of like giving me like a Corvus type of vibe. So the title of the signature ability is Death Immunity. So grants immunity to death under certain circumstances. So it's going to depend what those circumstances are to how good this is. But basically, when receiving damage that would knock her out, Death Touch is removed. Instead, and Claire gains a death immunity buff, preventing death and healing a % of her max health over a certain amount of seconds. So dude, this could be crazy. It really depends on what these circumstances are and how this works and how long it lasts and everything like that. But this could potentially be really good, just as kind of like a saving grace in like Alliance War. You know, if you screw up or you could die, this is like it saves you. You regen up, kind of like a Phoenix type mechanic. So it seems pretty cool, but yeah, it's really going to depend. It's just a slight disclaimer as well that these, I don't think all the abilities are quite here. Which also a huge shout out to the MCOC Journal and Otrix for getting these stuff early. But yeah, we might be missing a couple things, and when we have the brackets with the numbers in them, we don't really know exactly what those values are going to be because it's going to depend on what's a 4-star, 5-star champ. So we don't really know the values quite yet. But this is just a broad scale of the abilities here. So let's jump into her regular abilities. So Claire has two types of curses. I think it's actually more than that. Like I said, it's just the number that's in there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's more courses. But curses each providing her with a different immunity. However, only one curse can be active at a time, and I think that one is actually a 1. By default, the curse of blood is active, landing a 4th light attack cast the next curse in the following order. So curse of blood, curse of plague, and curse of hellfire. So basically, she can get bleed immunity, poison immunity, and incinerate immunity. But you have to activate that curse to have said immunity. So it's interesting. It starts with the bleed immunity, which is good because if you're running suicides, it'll purify the bleed, which is nice. And then I guess if you do a full combo of lights, then it'll switch you to the Curse of Plague and give you poison immunity, so you can purify the other suicide debuff. So potentially she seems pretty good with suicides. So I like that. And I like that you can just obtain immunities in some fashion. I really like that. I feel like a lot of champions could use that. So yeah, Curse of the Black Widow. So Curse of Blood grants bleed immunity and causes certain curse effects to trigger bleed on the opponent, dealing a certain amount of direct damage. Curse of Plague grants poison immunity and causes certain curse effects to trigger poison on the opponent, dealing a certain amount of damage and reducing health recovery by 30%. And then Curse of Hellfire grants Incinerate immunity and causes certain curse effects to trigger Incinerate on the opponent, dealing a certain amount of damage, removing perfect block chance, and reducing block proficiency by 50%. So I like this. I really like this because, you know, when you're going up against a champion that has, let's say, bleed immunity, if you're a bleeder and your only good thing about you is bleeds, you're really gamed in that matchup. But a champion like this can cause 3 different kinds of debuffs. So, you know, if a champion is immune to Incinerate, then you can poison, you can bleed that champion maybe. Unless they're immune to all 3, then like an Iceman, then you don't really have a good debuff to put on them. But I like that you can switch it up and change for what you need for certain matchups. I really like that in a champion, versatility and like controllability in our hands. So finishing a combo with a medium attack inflicts a debuff. I'm not sure what that means. And then throwing a heavy attack or special 1 inflicts up to a certain amount of debuffs. These debuffs are determined by Claire's active curse and last for a certain amount of seconds. Okay, so depending on what curse you're in, finishing a combo with medium will apply that debuff, and then throwing a heavy attack or a special 1 inflicts up to a certain amount of that debuff. We don't know how much yet. So that's cool, and it lasts, again, we don't know how long it lasts for, so that's interesting. And we have a Clairvoyant's chart timer, and then Clairvoyant's charge. So, well, at 1 or more charges, landing or receiving attacks nullifies a buff from the opponent. So that's good. She has a nullify ability. Claire starts with a certain amount of charges. We don't know if that's 0. It might be. Each time she or her opponent are immune to any effect or an immunity purifies a pre-existing effect, she gains 1 charge. So that's good. With suicides, you could start with 1 if you purify the bleed, and 1% of or a percent of her max power. Charges stack up to, we don't know. If the opponent has 1 or more buffs, landing or receiving a light or medium attack consumes a charge and nullifies one of their buffs. Okay. And then Death Touch, increase the potency of all curse effects, which you can get Death Touch through some specials, I believe. And Death Immunity, this champion is immune to death and regenerates health over time, but I think we need the signature ability for that ability. And then we have, well, this is awkward and your time has come, with no information. So I'm not sure if those are unknown abilities at this time. We'll have to wait and see. Now, let's talk about the specials, because this is how you're going to use her. So with the special 1, summoning a blast from the underworld, Claire curses her opponent. So depending on which curse you have active, you'll apply a debuff on the opponent. Special 2, Wrath of the Widow. Leaping forward, Claire uses her shadow limbs to slash the opponent with a series of devastating blows. 100% chance to inflict the opponent with buff immunity for a certain amount of seconds, decreasing to 50% against science champions. Each hit grants an effect determined by Claire's active curses. So Curse of Blood, regenerate 0% of damage dealt. So that's cool. She has a regen ability, depending on how much percentage that is. That can be pretty good. Curse of Plague, steal a percent of the opponent's current power. So she has a power control mechanic with L2. I like that. Deal a burst of direct energy damage. Okay, so I really like this. I really like the versatility and controllability of this, because it sounds pretty easy to pick a curse and then stay in said curse. All you have to do is use a combo of light attacks, and it'll switch to your next curse. And then as long as you don't use a combo of light attacks, you stay in that curse. So let's say you need power control for a matchup. Let's say you're fighting a Hyperion. I mean, I guess that would be because he's poison immune. But let's say you want to power control Hyperion. You know, you go to that Curse of Plague, and then on your L2, you'll steal power with the L2. So I just like that. I like that you can control the champion, and she seems pretty easy to control so far by these abilities. Now let's read the special 3, because the special 3 sounds pretty crazy. So this one is Soul, does that say Reaver? Claire steals the opponent's fate, seals the opponent's fate, marking their forehead with the touch of death and sentencing their soul to hell. Jesus, sounds crazy. All Clairvoyance charges are removed, each increasing her attack rating during this attack by a certain amount. So that's cool. You build up your Clairvoyance charges, drop the L3, and you get attack rating for each of these. So kind of like a Namor Mysterio type ability where you can gain maybe a big attack increase from the special 3. Then Claire gains Death Touch, lasting certain amount of seconds per Clairvoyant's charge removed. Death Touch increases the potency of all curse effects by a certain percent, is not affected by ability accuracy reduction. When I hear Death Touch, man, I feel like it's you touch them and they die. I don't think that's going to be the case, because that would be way too ridiculous. But dude, yeah, she sounds like she's got some really cool abilities going on. I'm digging it. I am digging it. So I'm really interested to see this, man. And if there's any other abilities that we don't have, I'm interested to see what those are. But so far, she seems pretty cool, man. I really like, again, how you can just control how you want to play her for certain matchups. Now, we also have some synergies here, which sound interesting. So, Fire and Forget. This is with Clairvoyant, Human Torch, Mephisto, and Sunspot. So, the incinerators. Whenever the opponent is immune to incinerate, they're inflicted with a slow debuff for a certain amount of seconds, reducing the ability accuracy of Unstoppable and evade effects by 100%. This debuff does not stack and will not trigger if the opponent has natural class advantage. So this is an interesting synergy. I really actually like it because Sunspot, if the opponent's immune to incinerate, it's really bad for him. So this could make him a slow ability champion to place slow debuffs on the opponent if they're immune to incinerate. So that's good. Just increasing more champions that have access to the slow debuff, but it's only going to be for particular matchups when they're immune to incinerate. But I like it. It's a decent synergy. Not bad. Could provide some utility in the future for sure. It does not stack duplicate synergies. Okay, and then we got Guilty Souls. All champions gain an attack rating when fighting against villain champions. This could be interesting. Pair this up with Blade. Give him more attack versus villains. That was the first thing I thought of when I read that. But it doesn't say who that's with. Then we got Judgment Day. All champions reduce the duration of the opponent's buffs by a certain percent. Again, it doesn't say who that's with. I wonder if that's just with Black Widow Clairvoyant by herself. I don't know. I doubt it. But yeah, it doesn't say who it's with. Then we have Spider's Bite with Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow. So Clairvoyant, while Death Touch is active, all attacks reduce the opponent's chance of triggering their abilities by a certain percent. That's cool. Kind of gets Black Widow's ability of reducing the opponent's ability accuracy. Depending on what the percent is, this could be good or it could be terrible. It could be like a 10% chance to lower their abilities, which would be nothing. Wouldn't really be worth it. Or it could be like a 50% chance, which would be pretty good. And then Black Widow activating a special attack grants a Fury buff, increasing attack rating by 20% for 6 seconds. This could be pretty good because, Black Widow, whenever she activates special attack, she triggers a Precision and a Cruelty. So they should also trigger now a Fury buff. So we can increase her attack for a decent bit. Could be good because Black Widow's damage output not that good right now. And then a spell a day keeps the Doctor away with Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange and Black Widow Clairvoyant, the final hit of Special 2 has a % chance to inflict stun for 2 seconds. That's okay, I guess. So yeah, she's got some interesting stuff going on, man, for sure. I'm super excited for her. Probably gonna go for hopefully I get her for the Content Creator Program, and then I can really get a feel. And I got a lot of Mystic Sig Stones and Mystic Awakening Gems, so I'm feeling it now. We're gonna have to see. But so far with his abilities, I'm pretty excited. I'm really interested to see how this death immunity works, because that could be a real saving grace again in like Alliance War or something. And the ability to control her immunities is also really cool. So I'm excited, and she seems pretty suicide friendly, which again I like because I run suicides. But she also seems like she could be good without suicides as well, which is great. It's very versatile. I like that. So far, guys, I'm really digging her. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, the breakdown of her abilities. We're gonna be doing Vision. I don't know if it's Arcus or Aarcus. I like saying Aarcus. We're going to be breaking out his abilities next, so stay tuned for that video. Should upload pretty soon after this one. That's going to do it, guys. I hope you did enjoy. Huge shout out to Otrix and the MCOC Journal for this information. They put it together very nicely. And that's going to do it. Let me know what you guys think of this new Black Widow Clairvoyant. I think we need to find a name for her, a nickname, because Black Widow Clairvoyant's a mouthful. We can't just call her Black Widow because we already have a Black Widow. Maybe just Claire V. Voyant. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you I look forward to reading the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you did enjoy. Drop a like if you did. Subscribe if you like some more content. Peace out.